Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review Death Metal number 2. Wow, so much to say about this issue. And the first thing I gotta say right off the bat is that the 7-year-old in me loves it. I just can't wait till the action figures come out because wow, this has a bunch of crazy and goofiness in it. And there is a goofy fun factor to this. At the same time though, I'm torn. So this is going to be a very schizophrenic review because I got really mixed feelings about this because while it's a lot of fun, it's on the highway to hell. You got sort of a twisted Batmobile there, or monster truck Batmobile. You got Batum, combination of Batman and the Atom being crushed at the beginning. You got all kinds of crazy characters, a Dr. Batmanhattan. I mean, wow, a lot of craziness going on. And the Batman who laughs isn't actually dead, which I think is crazy. It's doubling down on more Batman who laughs stuff, which I think is a negative. But there is, again, if there's a goofiness to this, I guess the question is it too goofy? Is it too crazy? Is it a little bit too out there? A little bit too zany, maybe? So, again, I got some mixed feelings about it. But so I'm going to get, at the end of the day here's, if I was to give my Coles Notes review, I would say it is goofy and not serious enough to be taken as the story that's going to be the new foundation of the DC universe. That's what concerns me here, is that this story is heading in a direction that is so goofy, so out there that I'm worried about this being the foundation of the DC universe going forward, however it results, because it really seems to be all over the place. Again, there's a crazy fun factor to it, but it should be more of an Elseworlds tale. You can definitely see how this is a reflection of the editorial battles that's been going on in the DC universe. Talking to guys at the Slack at the Weird Science DC, it does appear that there's some analogies that have been made by different people. Particularly, I'm going to call out Simon at the chat at Weird Science DC. He drew analogies of the characters of death metal with the editorial battles at DC, particularly Dan Didio being Perpetua and being trapped behind the source wall, and the judges of creation creating the new 52 to try to or creating rebirth of trying to change Perpetua's mind, trying to change her, just like arguably Rebirth was trying to change Dan Didio's mind, but it didn't work. Rebirth didn't take. Metal comes along, and then you can kind of see how the different characters reflect. Snyder's like the Batman of the DC editorial offices, and in any event, I won't go into it, but you can kind of draw your metaphors there if you like and have some fun with it. But in any event, This is a crazy story, and but let's get into it, shall we? First thing I want to talk about here, and there's so many notes here. I just wanted I'm gonna just touch on some of this stuff because otherwise this will be like a 30-minute review. I'm gonna try to keep this under to the 15-minute mark. One of the things that threw me right off the bat at the beginning was the fact that the Batman Who Laughs is still alive. This really disappointed me. I was really hoping that this was going to be a Wonder Woman-centric story. Now, Scott Snyder has said that. I hope that's still the case, but I feel that Wonder Woman has lost some of her power as a character here, and a lot of what makes Wonder Woman great, I think, was taken away in this issue. In particular, the fact that last issue it had established that Wonder Woman had a disagreement with Batman over strategy and tactics. Batman wanted to keep the battle small in the battle against the Batman Who Laughs and Perpetua, winning the small battles to save who you can. Batman had sort of given up on trying to win the war, so to speak, that the war can't be won, but we can win individual battles and we save who we can. Wonder Woman said, no, that's crazy. We have to save everything. We got to go big or go home. And Wonder Woman, through her discussions with Wally West, who still has some connective energy within him from his time as having the powers of Dr. Manhattan, that Wonder Woman's plan is to enter the Dark Universe, create an anti-crisis in the Dark Universe, to build up the connective energy again, to ultimately overcome the crisis energy that Perpetua is feeding on from the Dark Universe, and that which is being created in the mainstream universe. Well, this issue almost takes away that tension. That tension between Batman and Wonder Woman is completely done away with in this issue because Batman meets Barry Allen. Barry Allen pops up out of nowhere. because he's been traveling back in time trying to change the past in order to change the outcome of their defeat to Perpetua. But he's, unfortunately, Barry Allen. Barry Allen's an idiot. He's always stupid. Barry Allen is just as stupid in death metal as he is in his own comic book written by Joshua Williamson. He's an idiot. How many times does Barry Allen have to learn the lesson that traveling back in time doesn't change anything? It makes things worse. But Barry Allen stupidly tries to do that here. In any event, Barry Allen talks about hope, and Barry Allen comes back, and apparently between Barry Allen and Wonder Woman, Batman immediately changes his mind, and Batman gives some sob story about, well, yeah, I felt really depressed after we lost to Perpetua in a battle that we never saw, right? We never saw. After, at the end of Justice League 39, when the Justice League went into that big light, and they had this big battle against Perpetua, utilizing Dr. Manhattan's connective energy, we never saw that battle. All we know is that the resulting explosion essentially put Perpetua in charge, and they lost, and it blotted out the sun, and Superman apparently is propping up the sun somehow, keeping the sun going, and now Wonder Woman and all the heroes seem to be working for the Batman Who Laughs under Perpetua's gaze. Now, so there you have it. So that tension between Batman and Wonder Woman is gone. And I was really hoping for that. I was hoping that character tension between Batman and Wonder Woman would be a driving force of this series. That Batman would ultimately be persuaded by Wonder Woman's heroism. As opposed to, once again, Batman right away realizes he's wrong. He immediately changes his mind. He's going to help Wonder Woman. Furthermore, it's once again propping up Batman at the expense of Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman killed the Batman Who Laughs. She tells Batman that. Batman says, well, you shouldn't have done that. Batman Who Laughs is just going to evolve into something different. On what basis does Batman know that the Batman Who Laughs is going to evolve into something different? Why would Batman even assume that? The Batman Who Laughs, I always thought he could be killed. Of course he can be killed. But apparently he can't. The Batman Who Laughs can't be killed. He's going to evolve into something different. Why would Batman assume that Wonder Woman chainsawed the Batman Who Laughs in half? Why would Batman assume that Batman Who Laughs is going to evolve into something different? Perpetua can't save the Batman Who Laughs. The Batman Who Laughs is from the dark universe that has different rules. Perpetua cannot resurrect the Batman Who Laughs, and doesn't, in fact. In fact, Perpetua doesn't even know that the Batman Who Laughs is killed, which is rather incredible if you think about it. Now, why doesn't Perpetua even know that the Batman Who Laughs was killed and is in the process of being resurrected by his minions? Well, it's really simple. Perpetua is off in the multiverse destroying all the Earths. And she succeeds in destroying another Earth, Earth 22, I believe, in this issue. So she's slowly killing off all the Earths. And she figures that the Batman Who Laughs is up to something. And of course he is. The Batman Who Laughs, get this, they're taking his brain. They take his minions, they take his brain, the Bat Mage and all his other minions and the Robin Kings, the little Robins, the Dark Robins running around. They take the Batman Who Laughs brain and they put it in the body of what I believe was the final Bruce Wayne that was alluded to at the end of the last issue. And the final Bruce Wayne is actually the body of Dr. Manhattan, or the body of a Bruce Wayne who became Dr. Manhattan in another multiverse or in another Earth somewhere. Now, this, by putting the Batman Who Laughs brain in the essentially the body of a Dr. Manhattan analog, Bruce Wayne analog, he now has the power. The Batman Who Laughs now has the power of Dr. Manhattan. So now, as if the Batman Who Laughs wasn't omnipotent enough, he was already a Gary Sue character to begin with. That's why I don't like the Batman Who Laughs. I don't like it. The Batman Who Laughs is the weakest part of this narrative, and unfortunately, this is why I go back that this really is a battle of editorial. Scott Snyder has made a strategic error here, I believe. This story should not be about the Batman Who Laughs. He should stay dead. And because it takes away from the heroes of the DC Universe. This is, unfortunately, as of issue 2, volume 2 of the Batman Who Laughs miniseries. That's what this is. The Batman Who Laughs should stay dead. By making him Dr. Manhattan, now he's even more of a Gary Sue character who can't be defeated no matter what. And death really does have no meaning. Now, speaking of death, another comment here. Batman apparently has a secret that he alluded to in the first issue, and he alludes to another secret this issue. And I think that the worst kept secret here is the fact that Batman is in fact very likely dead. Now, here's a prevailing theory that's going around, and I think it's a good one. It's premised on a lot of common sense. It's been mentioned on Twitter. It's been mentioned. Word Science DC. Check out Word Science DC podcast, guys. Another call out. Check out the Word Science DC YouTube channel as well. Jim Werner does a lot of great reviews. Check it out. But in any event, the idea is that Batman is in fact dead. Now, why would Batman be dead? Where is that theory coming from? Well, it's because Batman wields a Black Lantern ring. Now, if you wield a Black Lantern ring, and do I have a Black Lantern ring here? I do. I have a Black Lantern ring. Now, if Batman wields a Black Lantern ring, you have to be dead in order to wield a Black Lantern ring. Now, I'm not dead, but this isn't a real Black Lantern ring. So now, if Batman is dead, the only way that Batman can resurrect people is if they die. So the real question is that if Batman is dead, why doesn't he should have an undead army? And if they really want to defeat Perpetua, why doesn't everybody kill themselves and just become a member of the undead army of Batman's Black Lantern army? Why don't they just do that? Why do they have to worry about going into the dark universe and getting more crisis or connective energy and what have you? It just seems rather a little bit off to me. And more specifically, if in fact our mainstream Batman is dead, then wow, that's kind of a huge revelation. Is there somebody else that is dead? Can he be resurrected? Will he be saved? Seems to me it doesn't matter. It also seems to me that since the Batman who laughs really can't be killed, he seems omnipotent, he's a Gary Sue character, Batman is dead, and has a Black Lantern ring, then does it matter who dies? Then it really doesn't matter if Wonder Woman's killed, if Aquaman's killed, if Hawkman or Hawkgirl is killed. The JSA show up in this issue. They're all old and decrepit looking. They look pathetic. It doesn't even matter if they finally die and they're killed. Batman will just resurrect them anyway. So what's the big deal? I mean, death has no meaning in this battle. So why not just have a battle of the dead in the end? What's the big deal? Also, more specifically, another thing that I was thinking that, quite frankly, if the heroes are the ones whose memories of past crises are creating crisis energy and feeding Perpetua, why not have all of the heroes kill themselves, which I think may affect their memory, and they're not going to remember the crises, and they become member of the dead army. So they're going to, number one, stop feeding Perpetua. They're going to be dead, so they'll stop feeding Perpetua crisis energy, and at the same time, there'll be an undead army in Batman's army to defeat Perpetua and the Batman who laughs. So it's a win-win. So why doesn't everybody just kill themselves and join Batman Undead Army? I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Seems rather weird to me. But in any event, there's more. Lots more here. The Justice Society shows up. At some point in this issue, in issue 2, Wonder Woman, after she kills the Batman who laughs, she takes Wally West with her, and she goes to Valhalla Cemetery. Now, she's looking for Valhalla Cemetery, and it's basically a cemetery where past mythological heroes were buried, etc., etc., and she was glad to discover that it still exists, because her fear was that when Perpetua remade the universe, after that big battle between Perpetua and the JLA at the end of Justice League 39 that none of us saw, in the midst of that battle, when Perpetua essentially won and recreated the universe, for some reason, Valhalla Cemetery still remained intact. Now, what's interesting about that is that it's become clear then that there are aspects of this universe that still exist despite the fact that Perpetua never consciously created them. So there are still remnants, and my guess is there are still remnants of places in the universe, because they were maybe filled with connective energy that Perpetua could not was blind to when she remade the universe, and Valhalla Cemetery is one of those places, so that when Wonder Woman she's going there, she essentially goes there to meet up with, to use a password that she has, and that password is my uncle. And for those of you with Justice Society background, will understand that reference. And she meets Jay Garrick, Alan Scott. She meets old members of the Justice Society. Now, what's curious here is that the members of the Justice Society of America, they're in Valhalla Cemetery, and they're all old and decrepit looking. They really look pathetic. Really look pathetic. There's no evidence that they've really aged or grown in terms of their costume or their sensibility. I mean, it's the same old. It's it's part of the goofiness and the craziness of this. It's really odd. They don't look particularly strong. They don't, they say the right things and maybe they're heroic enough. Jay Garrick has a hug with Wally and Wally has a hug with Barry, and the Flashes, hug and do the usual thing. Flashes are always doing one of two things. They're either running around accomplishing absolutely nothing, or two, hugging each other and saying good to see you again. What I'd like them to actually do is to actually do something constructive, because remember, this series was originally going to be called Death Crisis, but it's called Death Metal now. So maybe since it's called Death Crisis, will that mean that maybe a Flash won't die? Because they always say that a Flash always dies in the crisis. I personally hope Barry Allen would die again. I don't like Barry Allen. I hate him as a character. He's written terribly by Joshua Williamson in the pages of Flash. Flash is an idiot. Barry Allen is an idiot. He's demonstrably shown to be an idiot by Joshua Williamson. I'm sure unintentionally in the Flash, but he's an idiot. And Flash, of course, is an idiot in number 2. I don't know, it's the writing of Joshua Williamson infecting Scott Snyder, I think, by making Barry just as stupid in Death Metal as he is portrayed in the Flash. Which leads me to another point, a criticism of the Flash, which is a criticism so far in issue 2, and that is, we're 2 issues in, and I don't know what the rules are here. I don't know what the rules are of this battle coming up, or what's going on, exactly how this is going to play out, because it seems all wacky and crazy. I mean, is Batman alive? Is he dead? If there's, I'm not sure. I'm still not sure how going to the Dark Universe. If you're going to the Dark Universe to get connective energy, how do you get connective energy by going to the Dark Universe when there's probably more in the mainstream universe? But apparently there's going to be more connective energy when you go to the Dark Universe, because I guess you do that by being heroic. But if you do that by being heroic, aren't there a lot of heroic people in the Dark Universe already? They just happen to be in a Dark Universe, so there's slightly more crisis energy. I'm not sure if I'm not quite getting a handle on the connective energy versus crisis energy. I guess we have to look at it thematically. We got to look at it almost philosophically or metaphorically, that the harder you fight, the more hope you're filled with, the more passion you're filled with, the more determined you are to defeat evil, the more connective energy you will create. The kindness, love, and compassion that Wonder Woman is talking about will inspire, and connective energy will grow naturally, and it will overcome the crisis energy. I guess. And I guess that's kind of cool. There's a little bit of some metric there that I'm a little bit off about, but I guess it's kind of cool. And in any event, we're going to have to go with that. Now, a couple of other things. I'm a little bit concerned. The Batman Who Laughs as Dr. Manhattan, I think, is a little bit... it's a little bit crazy looking. He's already a Gary Sue character, as I mentioned. Now that he has the powers of Dr. Manhattan. I mean, Dr. Manhattan, remember that the actual Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen actually created the New 52 very easily. It would seem to me that the Batman Who Laughs, if he's got the power of Dr. Manhattan now, and he's Dr. Bat-Hattan, if you want to, Bat-Manhattan, he could probably could he defeat Perpetua? I'm not sure. Now, Perpetua doesn't know that the Batman Who Laughs is imbued with the powers of Dr. Manhattan, because she doesn't even know that the Batman Who Laughs has died. She's busy off, again, destroying other Earths in the multiverse. Now, clearly then, the Batman Who Laughs has his own agenda, and it's very clear that at some point he's going to want to destroy Perpetua. I think that much is all but clear, that ultimately when Perpetua destroys all the remaining Earths and is left with this one remaining Earth, at some point she's going to discover that the Batman Who Laughs is Dr. Manhattan. She's going to realize what Batman Who Laughs is up to, and there's going to be a battle there, probably an in-house battle between the Batman Who Laughs and Perpetua. And somehow the heroes will have to use that in-house battle between the Batman Who Laughs and Perpetua to their advantage in defeating both of them. I think that's where this is likely headed. I would have preferred that the Batman Who Laughs be dead, and I would have preferred more focus on the heroes of the multiverse of the various Earths. I would prefer some resurrections. I would hope I hope Batman uses the Black Lantern ring to resurrect some of the dead heroes of the multiverse, if he can do that, if that's possible. I think that would be maybe kind of cool. Maybe this is headed. I'm not sure. but there's a lot of potential here to make this story epic. We'll have to see where it goes. Now, what's interesting here is another comment is if the Batman Who Laughs, when he died, apparently he did have a plan that he was going to evolve into the body of Dr. Manhattan through the final Bruce Wayne. Now, what's odd about that is, why would the Batman Who Laughs wait for a hero like Wonder Woman to kill him? Why wouldn't the Batman Who Laughs just kill himself and evolve? Why would he? So it seems to me it takes away from Wonder Woman's success. It takes away from Wonder Woman's cool factor, cool actions in killing the Batman Who Laughs, because it just seems like it's playing into Batman Who Laughs' hands. It takes away from Wonder Woman's cool factor in killing the Batman Who Laughs. And once again, it props up the Batman Who Laughs as a Gary Sue, and it takes away from Wonder Woman's character. It also takes away from Wonder Woman's character that the Batman himself derisively says to Wonder Woman, well, you shouldn't have killed the Batman Who Laughs. He's just going to evolve. So, and of course, the Batman is right. The Batman Who Laughs does evolve. And once again, it's this nonsense. To me, it insults Wonder Woman, and it's sort of putting Wonder Woman down, when very clearly Wonder Woman is the only one that's doing anything. And the only thing propping up the characters of Batman and the Batman Who Laughs is, in my view, forced writing by Snyder. And that's what it feels like to me, and I don't really like it. I don't really see Wonder Woman stepping up to the plate now. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say this point blank, is that I think any character could replace Wonder Woman at this point. Any character could have done what Wonder Woman did in the first and second issues now. Really, any character could have killed the Batman Who Laughs. It didn't have to be Wonder Woman. And that's what I find so disappointing. I mean, other than the connection of the Amazonian metal that makes up the invisible plane that contains metal that could shield and hide the heroes and makes up her chainsaw. I mean, really, anybody could have done that and broken up that invisible plane other than Wonder Woman. It just seems a little bit forced to me. But again, I'm getting, that is I think maybe a harsh criticism. But I like to see Wonder Woman. I'm glad where she's at on this. I really don't like the Gary Sue aspect of the Batman Who Laughs. Another thing that is a little bit bothersome, a little bit frustrating is Snyder keeps changing the language of this series. They were called the Judges of Creation. In other words, the multiverse. In the DC universe, we have a multiverse of 52 worlds. And in that multiverse, there are multiple multiverses that make up a larger omniverse. And it's the Judges of Creation that look over the omniverse. And the Judges of Creation were the ones that had basically assigned Perpetua to our multiverse. And the Judges of Creation essentially are unaware what Perpetua is doing in this multiverse. And the fear was in the Justice League run, Perpetua's fear is that the Judges of Creation would see what Perpetua is doing, because originally the Judges of Creation hid Perpetua behind the Source Wall, hoping that she would see how great our multiverse evolved and that she would change her ways. But of course she didn't. Now apparently that the Judges of Creation are unaware that Perpetua has escaped the Source Wall and is wreaking havoc in our multiverse. Well, instead of calling them the Judges of Creation now, Snyder now calls them the Hands. At least I think it is. I don't know why he Perpetua in describing the situation of the Batman Who Laughs, she senses that the Batman Who Laughs is up to something and may betray her. And Perpetua says to him, look, I know you're up to something, probably, Batman Who Laughs, but just remember that there are people that are more powerful than me, that we have to get more powerful first so we can take on the Hands. And she calls them the Hands. She's really talking the Judges of Creation, for those of you who read the Justice League run. And the frustrating aspect of this is that it's just changing the terminology here, and it might be confusing for new readers, and it's frankly frustrating for an established reader like myself. Call it what it is, the Judges of Creation, and the Judges of Creation is a better name for it anyway, calling it the Hands. I don't know, is he trying, the only thing, why would he call it the Hands? Maybe it's because in multiversity there is a hand there's always that hand that shapes the universe at the beginning of creation. It's sort of like it's a creation myth that there's always a hand at the beginning, and then there's the sun in the middle of the hand creating the universe. And maybe that's what it's referring to. I'm not really sure, but in any event, it seems a little bit odd. But now the other thing is the Batman Who Laughs, when he's resurrected and becomes Dr. Bat Manhattan, he basically kills all the interesting little Bat characters that were in issue 1. You know, the B-Rex and the Bat Mage and all those characters. He killed them all. And I don't know if he can resurrect them. Maybe he can resurrect them again because he's like has the powers of Dr. Manhattan. But it seems odd that he would kill them all, especially since those characters are going to have their own tie-ins. So they're going to, I think the B-Rex and some of those other characters are going to have their own tie-ins in 3 tie-in issues. And now it's frustrating as hell that they're now killed off. If they're killed off anyway, why give them their tie-ins? And if you're going to have tie-ins, maybe have tie-ins for other characters. I don't know. Seems a little bit off there. We'll have to, but I mean, we'll see. Maybe they're going to be resurrected by the Batman Who Laughs. Now, at the end of the day here, there's absolute insanity that's going on here. I'm not sure what this could literally go in any and every direction. I'm not really getting a handle in terms of what exactly is going on. There doesn't feel like there's actual consequences to everything because nobody wants to die. Nobody's dying. There's no consequences. And everybody can come back from the dead. The Batman Who Laughs. Batman might already be dead. I'm not even sure it matters if any hero dies anyway because Batman can resurrect them. So while I'm still intrigued and I'm interested and I want to know how this resolves because I want a great foundation for DC Universe at the end of this. I got a lot of trepidation here and some frustrations, but I will say again, the 7-year-old in me is looking forward to seeing some of these action figures that are going to come out as a result of this series. So guys, there's a lot. There's so many Easter eggs in here. There's a lot that I missed. Tell me your comments on Death Metal 2. And in the meantime, follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. Hit the subscribe button. And until next time, Comic Boom, out.